Oh, hi pumpkins. How are we today? Starting with the filming a lot later today, so that's interesting. I have been to the game, and that was very difficult. That session was absolutely brutal. I've definitely neglected over the years doing things one side at a time, and I think that is partly a product of just wanting to be time efficient, partly a result of wanting to generate as much power as possible through the whole body and just doing one hefty move, and partly, as always, a product of sheer laziness. And I'm getting quite good at accepting that I can be a lazy little bugger at times, so I may as well keep the ball rolling, and that is what I will do. After that, I'm just going to go on a little bit more. Used some bands. You know, I like tying the band to the cable machine and really getting that, because you got to drive really smooth, otherwise it gets really wonky and unstable. So and a lot of it's from lunge positions as well, so this has been absolutely murdering me. And I'm going to let this person go. And I just absolutely love sweating during a workout. And it's not often I sweat very much when I'm doing a workout with weights, because lifting weights, even if you're just gassing it, it's not that difficult, you know. Like I think if you sweat doing a dumbbell press, you're either a Goliath human being or badly out of shape. But when you're rotating with one leg back, like staggered stance into a deep lunge, rotating with hefty weight and instability through a band, you're sweating, man. So that was nice. And I saw someone that I haven't seen in a while, that I have been harboring an enormous amount of negativity towards. And truth be told, I have wanted to see them for a long time, because I don't understand. I can understand that they were let down by my actions in my past, but I can't understand the way that they handled it, because they have done the exact same thing in the past, and that's caused me a lot of trouble. That's caused me a lot of mental anguish, because I like to think that if I've made mistakes in the past, like if I've lost my temper and hit someone, if someone lost their temper and hit me, I would understand, because I've lost my temper in the past. It might not be who I am now to lose my temper and to lash out physically anymore, but I can understand that other people are at that time of their life where that is a thing that happens to them. And some of the things I've been hearing from them, the way they've been behaving and the way that they've put time into tearing down or making worse the situation that I was trying to get myself out of. You know, I think if someone is going to behave in a way that is not up to their standards, like, you know, we've all been there when maybe it's just like one night when you got a little bit too drunk and you acted out. Maybe it's the guy that lashed out and hit someone. Whatever. What we do when we do that is damage our own reputation. Okay? And I think to a degree, it's important that we allow people to damage their own reputation by themselves. and don't assist them. And what I mean by don't assist them, it's not to enable them, one, not to be like, oh yeah, you should keep doing that, you know, or invite them out when you know that they can't handle their drink. Not just like that, but say, oh, did you, you know, just like gossiping a lot, you know. And there's a difference. I've also been dealing with this recently because there has been someone in the martial arts community that has behaved in a truly horrendous way. And I've been thinking, okay, one shouldn't gossip, right? One shouldn't gossip, but when is it gossip? And when is it just something that people need to know that this kind of behavior is happening in the community? I don't know where the line is, you know, because let's say that they get taken care of legally or they go to jail or whatever. Is that then taken care of and then no one should say anything about it? Or should it be a case of, no, people need to know about this, you know? And I don't know. So I'm trying to just shut up about everything. But I was a little bit disappointed, not just because I can understand why people would say like, oh, I don't like that guy because he was a dick, you know, or he behaved in a way that he shouldn't behave, or he was unprofessional, or I just don't like him. You know, there's loads of reasons why one might talk about someone else like that. But I think something that I try to do is just give people some grace, you know, like how long has it been since you last spoke to them? Like, have you observed them doing anything recently? Have you spoken to them? Have you looked into them? Have they changed? And if you're not the type of person to care enough to look into them, have they changed? Have they progressed? Have they gotten help? Whatever. If you're still talking negatively about someone, like in that sense, but you haven't looked into them to see if they have actually made some changes in their life, then I think that you're not a concerned person anymore. You're just a gossip, you know? Or as a man might say to another man, you are a bitch. Because I don't think men should behave that way. Women love a gossip, and I don't say that in necessarily a bad way. It can be in a bad way sometimes, because I mean, they really gossip sometimes. But women love to chat about stuff in a way that men don't, and like I said, that's not something I'm going to go into a deep rabbit hole, but men shouldn't really do that, because men always have the opportunity to fight each other. So if you're using your words to hurt another man and you are a man, then I think you should do it to the person, because you should give them the opportunity to handle it how they want to handle it. Whether they come back at you with words or whether they come back at you physically, you should at least stand in front of them and show that person how much you believe what is coming out of your mouth and take responsibility for it immediately, right? And if you're not really willing to stand in front of another man and say what you think about it, then you shouldn't say it to anyone else. But the cause of all this grief, all this mental anguish was one because I knew that I wasn't being the coach that I should have been, I wasn't being the friend that I should have been, I wasn't being the son I shouldn't have been at that time in my life, I wasn't being anything I should have been in that time in my life. So I understood that I deserved punishment for neglecting those roles in my life and not living up to them and being a coward from my responsibility. And that hurts, but you just got to accept it. But the thing that I had trouble accepting was the fact that I have worked so hard to not be that person anymore, that I felt people constantly pulling me back and making me live in a skin that no longer fits, you know. So that was that was interesting, and we had a talk, and it brought me a lot of peace because I've spoken to him as I spoke to him nicely, you know, because I do care about him. I was like, I hope this is going well for you. I hope everything's good. I hope you and yours are doing well. Just inquired into everything that's going on and just said like it was nice to see you. And now I don't need to get into the woe is me, you know, or I don't think you did this right. I don't think you should have done this, yada, yada, yada. I don't think that really matters, to be honest, because now I've just spoken to them and just been, you know, cordial. And if I'm to hear that anything has happened on his side again, then it's like, yeah, well, I've done my bit, and I can let that sleeping dog lie. Anyway, now I'm going to pick some stuff up from the shops, which is nice. I like going to the shops. I've had a coffee. I've been working on this project that's been really, really nice. Just got to keep gassing on with that and making sure that it's something that is bringing me fulfillment to do, and something that I'm focusing on and doing in the right way. I think that's very important. Like, I don't want to skip any steps. I want people to see like I care about what I'm doing on this one, and I really do care about what I'm doing on this one. So as long as the finished piece represents that, then I'm really looking forward to showing you guys everything to do with it, which will be ready pretty soon. And then I have a PT. I'm not doing padwork PTs this week, but I have a PT, someone who's coming in just to do like fitness sessions rather than pad work. So I'm going to put together a nice little circuit for her once a week and help her get back in shape. And I think that's going to be really nice. They're fun personality. They're outgoing, and I'm sure they're going to work hard. So that's going to be a pleasant experience for everybody. And then obviously got to clean the gym a bit before that, make sure everything's looking tidy for boxing class tonight. Got one drop in for boxing class, and then it's sparring, so best day of the week. And then I'm really sleeping as hard as I can this week. There's been so many social obligations and so many things to do on days where it would have been much better for me to rest. So I'm going to make sure that my calendar is completely empty this weekend, and I'm going to sleep as much as humanly possible. Oh, so this is not my best angle, but hello. Oh, look at the shine coming off that bloody mound there. So this is the space that I should be moving into. Should be. All depends on the landlord and the contract. But as you can see, 5 meters, 0.2 this way, 16 meters this way, and then there's 4 by 2.5, 4 by 2.5, 2 squares. This is open, so this can have equipment in it, and I think this is going to be an office space. Or this is going to be storage space. I think, if anything, this is going to be storage space, and the office behind me is going to stay as an office because I've already painted it and I've already made it look rather nice, if I do say so myself. The entrance to it is through that door there. Okay, so that door is here, but there's another door here. That's just going to be closed off because I don't want people just walking in and going straight into there. I want them to come through here. There's also a door there, which is that door there, which I'm considering making the opening for NCA, and then making this area drastically smaller. You can see that right there is storage that will be going in there. And then we have another thing to note. We have 16 meters of space this way, 5 meters of space this way. So it's 82 meters of space. And what is this? This is 4 by 2. This is about 10 square meters, so the size of my first bedroom in Norway.
10 square meters here. So we got minus 10 from 80. We got about, yeah, well, it's 70, 73 meters of space to play with. This is 2.6 meters high, which I'm going to have to take into consideration. Fortunately, this is 7 meters, so it's looking like anything to do with dumbbells is going to go in this space over here, and the cable machine is probably going to have to go over here, because the cable is going to need to take much more space. I've done that the wrong way around. Sorry. The cable is going to go over here because it needs a higher ceiling than the dumbbells. So that is going to go over there. It's very hard writing when you're looking through a camera screen. So that is the cable space over here. That is the dumbbell space over here. It's likely that the treadmill will go here, because I can just plop that in there, and people can at least look out the window when they use the treadmill. So that'll be interesting, just see the buses go past and stuff like that, because there is some drama there which I will have to fill you in on, but I'm not going to do it just yet. What I'm thinking is, if the cable is here, the dumbbell is here, I don't think anybody's really going to get that high up, but I think the squat rack should probably be here. Let me just see if I can. Squat rack should probably be here, and then machines should probably go here. I think that would be reasonable, because then we can have, as long as it doesn't get too much in my way, then we have the benches here. And then we got to make sure. But I was considering getting the treadmills and leaving the treadmills in the room that they're actually still in now, and having that as more of a cardio room, because treadmills are so flippin' loud. I would rather keep that, have the treadmill, have the eventual assault bike and the cardio bike in another room there, and then have everything here set up nice and neat, so we could have maybe like a bench here. Bench isn't 4 meters long, so we can have maybe the hip extension. So this is all just me spitballing right now and just coming up with ideas. But what I'm going to do is have to ditch the person I'm buying the equipment for and ask him if I can come and measure the equipment. He's a very busy man, and he's got a lot on his hands right now. He's putting up literally dozens of machines, and he's building them all by hand. So I am going to message him at some point during today and ask if there's any time next week where I can come by and measure the poles, so I can, or I could, what I'll do first is I'll Google search, because I know the names of some of them, so I'll Google search the specifications and then get a little plan together. That seems like a reasonable idea. All right, peace out.
Hello, pumpkins. How are we this evening? Oh, you're driving the buses up here now? Oh my gosh. That seems a little out of the ordinary. So, here's the tea, guys. There's massive blocks of concrete everywhere outside the gym, and it looks like some sort of weird beginning of a Doctor Who episode. But essentially, what am I doing here? But essentially, the company that has rented the new spot, or the place outside where all the buildings were before, they didn't realise that they had a lot more space than they thought they had, and the space actually is is encroaching on the area that some of the building really needs to operate business. And they've been desperately trying to get in touch with the owner of my building. It has not gone well. They haven't been able to get hold of him, and now some of the businesses that in the building that I'm at have very little operating space, and it is not going to make business easy for them. So that is no bueno indeed. I'm so tired, but I'm in a fantastic mood, guys. I got quite a lot of good work done for this project, and I know this project can spider out into an absolute enormous body of work, which could take a very, very long time. But it's something that I can see spinning off into different ideas. I need to be careful about what I do with ideas, because I am a person who is characterized by passions and obsessions, and it can go a little bit too far, and I can lose my appetite for food and sleep, and it's not a good thing. So I need to just pump the brakes on it and give myself a set amount of time, and not just work like I'll get the impulse to work for 12 hours on it. I just need to give myself an hour so I can just like burn, burn a blue flame, you know what I mean? Maybe not a blue flame, you know what I mean? Like a certain color flame will burn for a long time, but another color flame is just going to go witha, and then it will be gone. Anyway, just had sparring, just had boxing, had a first timer in, did really, really well. Looking forward to seeing him in the gym again. But had sparring, and we've got a young lady in who is, I want to say that she is younger than 18, so I'm not going to say her name, and I'm not going to say where she trains or any details about her, other than the fact that she's a very talented martial artist. She's a very talented martial artist, and she is a successful one at her age. That's what I'll say about her. But she has an issue with one of her joints when she throws a specific technique, right? And that's as much information as you're getting from me, but she has trouble with one of her joints when she throws a specific technique. And today I needed to tell her specifically what technique she was and wasn't able to throw. She's not from my gym, but I said, look, you're not allowed to do this, because some people are too tough for their own good. And like the old song goes, if you want to be tough, you got to be dumb. I don't believe in that. I think if you want to be tough, you do have to be ignorant, because you have to ignore the fact that you are in pain. You have to ignore the fact that you are taking damage, and you are shortening a lifespan of a certain activity or certain area of well-being. And one of her teammates said, that's really good coaching, and I appreciated that, because that means that he cares about her as well, and he cares for good coaching. So I appreciated that. But I think it reflects, it made me think about things in life and fights that we've had, not fights as in physical fights or martial arts fights, but every time she throws that technique, she's using up part of a fight that only has so much behind it, you know? Let's say I dislocate my shoulder every time I throw a left uppercut. Every time I throw that left uppercut in sparring, I'm taking years off my shoulder's life, and I'm taking the opportunity for that left uppercut. If that left uppercut is my strong suit, it's just cursed with dislocation, the chances of it dislocating are going to go up more and more the more times I use it. So I need to make that left uppercut count. And there are times in sparring when that left uppercut is going to count because it's against a very talented opponent, and it's against a high caliber sparring partner, or it's in a fight that is for a prestigious award or title or trophy, for example. And that would be times where it would be worth using that, right? But not against every Tom, Dick and Harry. It's not going to be the time, or it's not going to make sense to take years off my shoulders life for just anybody. I remember I was coaching a professional boxer in a fight once, and we'd spent, I want to say 8 months, and this was with Anders Egon. This was like 8 months of just using his left hand. So he had a fantastic left hand. You can check my Instagram out for all the left hand work we did. It was wicked. Yeah. His hand healed up and we got into the ring for one of his fights, and I was the second in the corner, his dad was the first. So I was just there letting his dad do the corner work, and after I think the first or second round, I can't remember clearly on the round numbers, but he came back and said, my bad hand is gone. And his dad was like, okay, we've got to do this, we've got to do this, we've got to do this. And then another round or two came back, and he came back and said, I've broken my other hand. And I'm sat there like, this just got exciting. What a boxing match this is going to be. Man's got no hands. Fantastic. We got to get really creative. So I'm getting fired up. And I remember his dad and him looked at me kind of like at the same time, like, any ideas? And that was one of the most exciting memories of my martial arts career so far, is just having to think of how to beat someone with no hands. And it was to realize that the one hand we were very good at, we are used to being in pain, we had to use it on soft spots and then not use the power hand whatsoever, and hit the body as much as possible and get up in a position where if we use that power hand, it has maximum effect, right? So go to the body with the left hand, get him in a position where we can use that right hand and make it count. That is the time where you're like, okay, I will accept damage to this, because now is the time. But against everybody on any given day is not the time, and that is there's times where this is so relevant in life, you know? You got a friend that just doesn't really, they don't reciprocate the friendship. You got a student that doesn't work hard when you're trying to get them to work hard, and you're fighting and you're losing the fight, and you're taking years off your passion, you're taking years off your patience, you're taking years off your body if you're doing something that's just not agreeing with your body, you know? You have to analyze the cost, and you have to analyze the benefit, and you have to think about the time. It's like, is this friend that I'm fighting so hard for worth it? Am I burning a flame that has limited fuel? And what happens when that fuel runs out? So are you punching with a broken hand in your life somewhere? Whether it's a hobby, whether it's a friend, a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, or some part of education. Are you punching with a broken hand? And do you need to assess the strategies that you're using in life? Are you taking more damage trying? And is it hurting you in the long term more to try and keep this thing in your life than it is to not come up for the count, to take a knee and let the ref count and say, right, I'm afraid that's it for me, and I'm not continuing this fight, right? Because there needs to be a time where we have to say, this fight is no longer the fight for me. And we saw that with Meatball Molly in the UFC. She said, I'm here to win and I just can't win anymore. I'm surrounded by people that love me. I'm surrounded by people that I love. I've had a great run. Let's not ruin it. Let's bow out in style. And I think we all need to try and figure out when we're doing that. Anyway, I'm going to go and eat. I'm going to go and watch Ice Age. I'm going to eat some Ben and Jerry's, and I'm going to have a nice, relaxing, lazy weekend. Get my neck as much sleep as it needs, and get my brain as much sleep as it needs. Thank you for listening. If you did listen all the way, just tell me if you've had a good day or not, and I'd love to speak to you about it. Thank you very much for the kind and lovely comments. I appreciate you all. Have a lovely weekend, pumpkins.